The days that I make 2 videos and release them on the same day are pretty rare. It usually only happens when one of 2 situations has occurred. Something very, very exciting has been announced, or something has gone astray. Today is one of those days where it appears that something has definitely gone astray. So yesterday we had a wonderful announcement that 3 Gothic cards would be added to the Dust Store as previews, and those would be legal for SCG Las Vegas. Even more impressive, a foil and non-foil version was available. So because of the decision to make them legal at SCG Las Vegas, they created a non-foil version for the very low price of 200 dust. Very acceptable for individuals in the US. Yes, there's the international shipping problem. Don't want to talk about that today. We already talked about that just recently. So, 200 dust to get a non-foil copy of any one of these 3 cards, all 3 of which seem to be very strong, very useful, highly likely to see inclusion in decks in the future, and certainly for SCG Las Vegas, a point when we do not have the rest of Gothic, they are definitely going to be something that people will be wanting to use. And I made a video and said, this is, using the Dust Store, it's good. It's a good solution. It's a better solution than the solution for swap. Even though the theme for getting swap, I like it. It's very thematic. But in terms of play, especially playing in competitive events, availability is critical. And so this solution, putting them on the Dust Store, 200 dust, get a full play set, awesome. And then I got up this morning. I'm on vacation, so I've been able to make a lot of content this week and get some things done related to the channel that I've been wanting to get done. And I'd been hem-hawing about, do I want to order all 3 of these? I mean, I'm not going to be at SCG Las Vegas. They're alternate art, and they're really nice pieces of alternate art. So, do I want to have them for my collection? I'm already at a point where I know I'll never be able to own every sorcery card. That's just not something I'm going to be able to do. It's not my focus, right? I have some art, some artist proofs. I like to put my money there rather than buying the really high money cards, the curios, that type of thing. The really, really high-end foils. It's just not my thing. So the alternate arts are kind of in that same place. It's like, well, I'll get the ones I really, really like. And so with these 3, I was kind of like, well, they're 200 dust. That's not very much. I could go ahead and get them. But I said, I'll sleep on it. And then today I go to order. Just before noon my time, which is Eastern time. And Haystack non-foil was sold out. That's odd. That has to be a mistake. It's only been 22 hours since the announcement. It can't be sold out. Nah, that's just weird. But then it was in the Discords and people were talking about it, and I sat back and there was no immediate statement from Eric Curioso. Oh, hey, this was the typo. Cardio's just got to fix the inventory. Nothing. And I'm sitting there looking and I'm like, I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like how this feels. Because the thing is, I really like the art for Fields of Fixus. I really like that alternate art. And I'm like, I really want a foil and non-foil set. I'm going to use the non-foil set to play with. The foil set I'm going to keep just for my own collection purposes. So I was like, well, what if this isn't a mistake? What if this isn't an error? Should I just go ahead and order them? But what if Haystacks come back in? I don't want to pay extra shipping, which we all know the shipping's kind of high for this, just in terms of what it is. And even though I understand why it's so high, still, I don't want to, buy the things I wanted, which was, a non-foil copy of The River and a non-foil copy of Fields and a foil copy of Fields and a non-foil copy of Haystack was what I wanted to do. I didn't want to okay, now I'm going to pay 15 for the 3, and then if Haystack comes back, I got to pay 15 to get Haystack. And I'm like, well, is it even worth it to get Haystack then? So I'm sitting there and I'm finally like, yeah, we're going to let the FOMO get me. So the FOMO hit me. The FOMO said, go ahead and do it. So I placed my order on the Dust Store for a non-foil copy of Fields of Fixus, a foil copy of Fields of Fixus, and a non-foil copy of River of Blood. Went ahead and pushed it through. Really wanted that Haystack, but wasn't there. Put it through. Got my order in. It was great. Got my confirmation. Just hit refresh on the awards page once I got back to it. Fields of Fixus was sold out non-foil. I was like, what just happened? What? Did I get the last copy of non-foil Fields of Fixus? Or perhaps one of the very last copies? What? This can't be right. And so the day has progressed, and now we are 27 hours since the announcement. And all non-foil and all foil copies of these 3 cards are currently sold out on the Dust Store. I don't even know where to go with this. If it had just been the non-foils, I might have been like, okay, they really didn't intend to do the non-foils, but because there was a decision made to let them be legal at SCG Las Vegas, they, ran some non-foil copies so that people could order them and have them. But the foil copies, those are cool. There's going to be plenty of those available, just like the other Dust promos. And now they're all gone. And so now I'm like, wait, so I really just thought initially that this was an inventory issue. Someone fat-fingered the quantity available and it just needs to be updated or something. And right now, everything's sold out. I don't know what to think of it. And Erich Curiosa has already confirmed that, they're checking into it. But what if it is sold out? Like this was it? How many did they print? I just don't, in 27 hours, they completely sold through 3 sets of foil cards. The non-foils, right? The non-foils and the foils completely sold through. And the foils were 1,200 dust a pop. So 3,600 dust. That's a lot of dust. Even if you're playing regularly. That is a lot of dust. Even if you place very well in competitive events, large competitive events. That's still a ton of dust. Who bought all these? And to make it even worse, they were all limit 1 per person. Limit 1 per person, and they're gone in 27 hours? I don't understand it. Maybe the only scenario I have in my mind right now is, well, maybe they just posted some of them before Las Vegas. And, once Gothic actually releases, they're going to give us more Gothic promos on the Dust Store, and then maybe they'll add some more of these back. That's the only thing I can think at this point, because I don't think it was an inventory issue, unless somehow when they load these, they just put a default number in for every one of them. But I would think they would have to put in a different number, right? Like there shouldn't, I wouldn't think the non-foils would have the same number of copies as the foils. I would think those numbers would be different. Certainly, I think for each card, those numbers would be the same, but the non-foil amount for each card and the foil amount for each card, I would think those would be the same for each of these 3 cards. So now I just don't know. I don't understand what's happening. And if this is a true sellout, I gotta say, I'm not happy. 27 hours and they're all gone? And these cards are going to be legal in Las Vegas? These cards that will fundamentally change the meta? All 3 of them? I really don't get it. I don't understand it. And I'm just hoping, even though Eric Curiosa has really pulled back with communication, especially in the Discords, they do the big announcements, but, it's a lot of, it's coming, just wait, that type of stuff. To me, this seems like a huge problem. If the cards are truly sold out, especially at limit 1 per person, I just can't imagine they printed that many. I just don't think the number can be that high. And I've got to think there's either more that they're going to post later, or the amount of desire for these was just drastically underestimated. But that just doesn't really make sense to me. I would think that Eric Curiosa would have a pretty strong understanding of, the sell through on the dust foils at this point. They'd have a pretty good idea of, what people try to get and that type of thing. Maybe they could have underestimated it a little because they're Gothic and they're like, oh, we didn't account for the Gothic factor and everyone being really excited to get these Gothic cards early. But to make it sell through in 27 hours? At 1,200 dust a pop for the foils? I just really struggle with that. And I don't know that we're going to get an answer. So for those of you going to SCG Las Vegas, I hope you got your copies. Because if you didn't, you're going to be at a very distinct disadvantage. And that's really unfortunate. I mean, I was very excited with how this was rolled out. I felt like this was a good solution given logistical constraints. This was a good way to do it. It felt good. But now it's sold out? I don't know. I'm not like kicking down the door, flipping the table yet, because there's time for Eric Curiosa to react and to say, oh, this was a inventory glitch. We're going to load more. There's time for those types of things to happen. But if this is truly it, and there is no more of any of these alternate art promos 27 hours after they appeared on the Dust Store, there are going to be a lot of very upset people. Especially those individuals that came over from another game that shall remain nameless that likes to do this type of thing with a product that they have. Wait and see, I guess. But man, if it goes the way it's looking, no one's going to be happy. Well, there could be some people who are happy, but you know, it is, from a collector standpoint, having these cards be that hard to obtain would bring in, you know, collectors and people who are seeking that. But for that event in SCG Vegas, these cards need to be available to those players, and I really thought this Death Store thing would make that possible. I don't know. I guess it's just wait and see. And hopefully it's not the worst and what it looks like it is. As always, keep on contesting the realm!